We're underway at the Pirelli French round, and what a start that is from Tom Sykes. Dragged down towards turn number one. Sykes looking to the inside, and Ray's going to pass the pair of them, and Gerloff clashes with Sykes, and Laverty's out as well. And the top two on the grid are out of the race at the first turn.
Yeah, first turn there we saw contact on the run in. You can see Gerloff's done a good job to be able to get himself up in second spot, and that's Tom Sykes just reacting to that. But you can see there with Van der Mark as well, a good start. He's battling there with Lowe's for third.
BMW Motorrad cannot believe it, but Jonathan Ray is your race leader, pursued by Garrett Gerloff in second position. Michael van der Mark fighting to the inside on Alex Lowe's. Gerloff goes the long way to the outside line. He's got to be cautious here into turn 5. Van der Mark sweeps up the inside of him. Gerloff has gone too deep and allows van der Mark to come through. Lowe's might get the cut back as well off the Adelaide hairpin. That all enables Jonathan Ray to streak clear. The battle for third place as things stand. Alex Lowe's making good progress up to third position.
Yeah, what we've seen all the way through the running so far this weekend is you can't go down that left-hand side on the run into turn 5. So for Gerloff, a little bit of a mistake to have opted for that strategy. Lowe's able to get down the inside of Van der Mark into the 180 corner.
Here goes Gerloff launching that manoeuvre down the inside. These two were dicing it out for second position in race 2 a couple of weeks ago in Catalonia. This time it's for P3, and Gerloff has seen his way safely through, and Van der Mark is going backwards through the field. Loris Baz, a wet weather specialist and home man this weekend in Manicourt, comes through for 4th position. So your new order as they flash past us is Jonathan Ray, then it's Alex Lowe's. It's a 1-2 for KRT as things stand. Gerloff now coming under pressure from Baz, who's making up position. Lowe's defending the inside line, leaves the door open to Loris Baz to try and make a manoeuvre. Baz isn't quite close enough. Gerloff will try to go the long way round, and Lowe's is able to defend second position successfully for the moment at least. Drag race down then towards the 180 hairpin, and Garrett Gerloff has got through sweetly, quite swiftly, and probably earlier than I expected on Alex Lowe's. In towards turn 13 then, having safely negotiated the Imola hairpin. Oh, Gerloff and Ray touch coming off turn 13. That's affected the momentum of Garrett Gerloff. Loris Baz now will attempt to seize his moment, seize his opportunity as they head down the hill and towards the Lycée complex. Baz has got the inside line. Gerloff has to stand up and get out of the way. Loris Baz comes through for second. Gerloff is run wide then at turn 15, and that gives Alex Lowe's another opportunity. That has affected Gerloff's rhythm quite dramatically, and suddenly it's Jonathan Ray who once again leads by 0.6 of a second. Here comes Loris Baz for the lead, down the inside on Jonathan Ray. Ray with the cutback will recover that lead, but he looks under great pressure here as they come down towards the Lycée complex. At the end of lap number 4, it's Jonathan Ray with Loris Baz on his tail. The home man thinks about a manoeuvre down into turn 15, can't get there. Ray was able to defend successfully there against Garrett Gerloff a lap ago. And again, it's another lap which Jonathan Ray has survived at the head of the field. 4 gone and still plenty to go. 17 laps of WorldSBK action. It's going to be a cracker. Loris Baz has been faster than Jonathan Ray coming off turn 5 each lap around, but Ray manages to hold the lead for the moment at least. He's got a couple of 0.1 of a second in hand, but nothing more than that. Alex Lowe's has now got the gap down to less than a second to the right. Oh! Big off for Garrett Gerloff. Real disappointment for Gerloff ahead of turn number 8, and that is disaster for the GRT Yamaha man.
Yeah, for Gareth Gerloff there, just coming through 6 and 7. It's so easy to have that slide through there. It's so easy to get caught out. He's in that battle for the lead. He's in that battle for the win, and unfortunately for Gerloff, this can happen in these kind of wet conditions. And just keep an eye out for the number 31. You're going to see that rear end just slide around on him, and he's out over the top before he even knows about it. That's so unfortunate for Gerloff, but another real indication of just how strong he's been this weekend. He's in that battle all the way through the race.
Haslam still behind Razgat Lioglu. As you can see, they were line astern coming in towards turn number 5. Razgat Lioglu holding sway on the outside line, but Haslam has managed to duck down the inside. Razgat Lioglu then will get the cut back to repay the compliment. Side by side now for 6th position. Haslam has to give best the veteran on this occasion. Ducks to the inside line into the chicane. It's single file through there, and Razgat Lioglu can breathe a sigh of relief for the moment, at least in 6th position. Looked as though he got a little bit in deep there. That's going to give Haslam the inside line into the 180 hairpin. Haslam on the inside, Razgat Lioglu on the outside, but he's fighting for dear life here to hold on to 6th place. Haslam the faster of the two of them, and the risk while they bottle one another up is that Michael Ruben Rinaldi is closing in as well. Another opportunity for Haslam to make his lunge down the inside. He's far faster coming into the chicane than Razgat Lioglu, and he manages to gather it up quite superbly as well. Leon Haslam through for P6. Michael van der Mark then dropping all the way down to 10th position. So problems for Michael van der Mark, who sat, remember, up at 4th place. I think he must have gone down in the latter stages of that lap 14, and we're going to see it now.
And this looks like it's down in towards turn 13 for van der Mark into the right-hander. This is where we tend to see a lot of front ends go underneath riders, and van der Mark gets caught out. He was in 4th position, and he drops all the way down the order, like you said, Alex, and that's going to be very important in his battle with Toprak and Chaz Davis for 3rd in the World Championship.
Scott Redding alongside Michael Ruben Rinaldi. He's gone in very deep here as Redding. Rinaldi will get the cut back, but Redding manages to get it stopped. Side by side, those two. Completely different approaches to the Adelaide hairpin. Looks as though Scott Redding is getting racy in the second half of this one. He's now up into 7th place. Scott Redding making swift progress then. 1.5 seconds down, Haslam goes wide. Leon Haslam is wide in the battle for 5th position. Razgat Lioglu recovers the place. These two have been scrapping all race long. Haslam has to back out of it through the left-hand kink. They're on down towards the final sequence of turns now. The Lycée complex, and Toprak Razgat Lioglu takes up the challenge once again in P5. This is swiftly turning though into a 3-rider battle with Scott Redding closing in. Looks to my eyes as though the conditions might be worsening ever so slightly as well. I wonder whether that might have had an impact to Scott Redding. Certainly looking at the lens of a couple of the cameras there, it looked as though there were a few spots of rain. We're watching Razgat Lioglu defend against Haslam. Redding's dropped back from the two of them. Haslam seizes his opportunity. Down the inside line, he goes into turn 13. Razgat Lioglu then will have the cut back. They're going to be side by side all the way down the hill towards the Lycée complex, and Haslam has got the move done. Razgat Lioglu looks to the inside. Haslam has the right leg off the bike, trying to ward off Razgat Lioglu, who's coming anyway. Haslam's going to have to go the long way round the outside. Redding certainly gaining through the fight between those two, but it's Razgat Lioglu who recovers 5th position yet again. Haslam will think about a manoeuvre down the inside into the Nürburgring chicane. Razgat Lioglu has a momentary wobble. Haslam has been the more consistent through this race, but Razgat Lioglu really wants this one. Haslam almost running up the back of Razgat Lioglu there, diving down the inside. An unconventional pass. Haslam off the bike altogether, and in the path of Toprak and Redding. Redding might be able to take the advantage there and move through for 5th position. That could be critical in the context of the World Championship. We're coming through the final chicane for the final time. It's Jonathan Rea once again in Manicourt, victorious in race 1. Loris Baz over the line for his first podium here in Manicourt, swimming to the line in wet conditions. Looking to make it 100 race victories and 6 world titles. Jonathan Rea is underway, and it's a fast start from him as well. Rea gets the whole shot. Lowe's was a little bit sluggish off the line, but van der Mark couldn't capitalise. Michael Ruben Rinaldi with a good start. He's already up from the second row of the grid, and I think that's Mercado who's gone down in the pack there. It's Rea who leads us. It's Lowe's in second. It's van der Mark third. Rinaldi already up to P5. Razgat Lioglu in 6th. He's made up 3 places, and it was indeed Mercado who's gone down at turn 1.
Yeah, we saw Scott Redding make a good start off the line, but then kind of got bundled into turn 1. Rinaldi ran around him, and Redding's been able to pick him off since then, trying to make sure he's able to get down the inside of van der Mark into turn 5.
Loris Baz recovering as well, thundering through and past Toprak Razgat Lioglu. They're 3 abreast, 3 blue Yamahas further back down the order. Scott Redding through on Michael van der Mark, doing what he needs to do, aggressive on the opening lap. Rinaldi also charging through. Van der Mark's going backwards, he's down to P5.
Yeah, for van der Mark, just losing a few positions now on that run from the Adelaide hairpin down in towards the first of the chicanes. Chaz Davis trying to make sure he's able to close up on the back of that number 60 Yamaha as well. You can see for Rinaldi, he's going to be under pressure though from van der Mark. Van der Mark at times in the second half of this lap has been really strong all the way through the weekend. Through that next chicane, that's where he's been good.
In towards the Imola chicane then, and Redding thinking about a move down the inside of Alex Lowe's, but can't quite get there. It's green, green, red. Redding needs to get through on the pair of these two at the front of the field. Jonathan Rea unintentionally has a rear gunner here in the shape of his teammate Alex Lowe's. Just gives him a little bit of a buffer to his main championship rival Scott Redding, but Rea will know even 3rd position would be good enough here even if Scott Redding is able to hit the front.
Yeah, I don't think Lowe's is going to be thinking about protecting Jonathan Rea. He's out there to try and put some pressure on Rea, see if he's able to challenge him at the front. But Jonathan, all the way through this weekend, he's been able to lead from the front, and he's been able to answer any questions for anyone else. You're going to see Scott Redding use that Ducati to try and get down the inside.
Here comes Scott Redding into turn 1 at the start of lap 2. You don't very often see big manoeuvres there, but Redding is determined, Redding is aggressive, and now he's within striking distance of our race and championship leader, Jonathan Rea.
Yeah, don't discount how good a wet weather rider Scott Redding is. Obviously in the Grand Prix classes, we've been able to see him stand on a MotoGP podium in the wet conditions. He came good as yesterday's race progressed. This is the first time this weekend where we've seen him able to get to the front nice and early, and now we'll see what his pace is like compared to Jonathan Rea.
Davies and Baz both through on Van der Mark, who is tumbling backwards. He's now into the path of his own teammate Razgat Lioglu. Van der Mark trying to go the long way round the Adelaide hairpin. Baz manages to box him out for the moment at least. They're almost handlebar to handlebar, these two. Baz defending his position. Van der Mark going to the outside line. Baz has left him enough room, but Van der Mark is not going to be able to get through there. You can see the spray coming up from the rider in front as we ride on board.
Yeah, big slide there as well for Van der Mark as we head down in towards the 180 corner. You can see with Loris Baz just trying to do what he can to stay in front of Van der Mark. He wants to be able to close up on Chaz Davis. You can see Lowe's lost a couple of spots there as well. Rinaldi's been able to get through. It looks like Davis is going to try and attack as well.
I think the water gremlins might have got into our timing screens as well. It's certainly Jonathan Rea who is leading the way at present as we watch with eyes on track as Loris Baz cuts to the inside on Chaz Davies. Davies is caught completely by surprise, and Davies loses a position there, and Baz being aggressive in these early stages, he needs to do so.
Yeah, caught by surprise or bundled out of the way one way or the other. Baz is through on Chaz Davis, and his next target is going to be Alex Lowe's. You can see for Lowe's on the 22, he's trying to be able to stick there with the Ducati of Rinaldi, but at this stage of the race, he just doesn't seem to have the same grip as the other riders around him. It was similar to this in yesterday's race as well.
Loris Baz then ducking out to the inside line on Alex Lowe's, where Scott Redding made the pass on Lowe's for second position. Redding is going off in pursuit of Jonathan Rea out in front. Lowe's is tumbling backwards. Strong start to this race from Michael Ruben Rinaldi as well, it must be said, as through now on the inside line comes Loris Baz. Lowe's left the door wide open. He's going to go for the cutback, get his wheels in line. He'll think about recovering the place into turn 5, but Lowe's looking like a wounded animal in the early stages of this race. A real shame for him after back-to-back podium finishes to start the weekend here in Manicourt. Loris Baz slipping and sliding, blocks the path of Lowe's. Davies thunders down the inside. Lowe's is hemorrhaging positions now. Up at the front of the field, Jonathan Rea with Scott Redding right on his tail, and Redding is thinking about forcing a move already. Loris Baz to the inside of Michael Ruben Rinaldi as they come into the Adelaide hairpin. Rinaldi has moved out of the way. Baz is up into the provisional podium places again. Again, Scott Redding looking menacing coming off turn 5. Again, Rinaldi is having to fight it out with Loris Baz. Baz manages to hold on to third place. These two have got to be careful not to be dropped too greatly by our race leaders who are surging away up front.
Yeah, and you can see the two title leaders there close to making contact on the run through 180. Jonathan having to stand up. Scott Redding's going to be moving in front for the race lead there, but for Jonathan now it really is a case of making sure you're able to hold on to the back of Scott Redding. You don't have to beat him to win the World Championship, and maybe at this stage of the race the key thing for Rea is just to be able to focus on being able to set decent pace, and then until you're much more comfortable out there.
We're going to see the overtaking manoeuvre for the race lead. Jonathan Rea just a little bit wide and Redding forcefully through.
That's Xavi Forés. He's down at turn 15. It's been a tough weekend once again for Forés.
Yes, Forés, who showed promise in race 1, coming home for 8th position. That's as good as it's got as far as 2020 is concerned.
Yeah, just the front folding, typical of what we see down in towards turn 15. And I don't think Xavi Forés is going to be too disappointed that this season comes to a close in 2 weeks' time.
Here goes Loris Baz into the right-hander there, cuts his way past the championship leader. Jonathan Rea is relegated backwards. Maybe, just maybe, this championship fight might go to Estoril. Jonathan Rea has 185 podium finishes in his palmarès, but can he hold on for a 186th to take the world title here in Manicourt this afternoon? Chaz Davies is hunting him down. He's close to Jonathan Rea going into the Adelaide hairpin on lap 14. It's not now, but it's gonna be soon. It might even be the exit of the Adelaide hairpin because he's got a much better drive off turn 5. Jonathan Rea was sluggish off the slowest corner on the circuit, and Davies has thundered down the inside, and Rea is forced back down to 4th position. Through the chicane they go, single file through there. Davies has got the move made. Half a second the gap last time across the timing beams for Jonathan Rea. Now it's up to 7/10 of a second. Jonathan Rea will have to wait till Estoril. Scott Redding, Loris Baz and Chaz Davies have all made overtaking manoeuvres on Jonathan Rea. Rea's going to push it right to the finish here in Manicourt. I said it was going to be a grandstand finale. We're into the final sector. Scott Redding is doing everything that he can. He's going to pick up the 25 championship points, but Jonathan Rea is in 4th position, and it's not going to be good enough for the #1 to seal that plate for another year. Chaz Davies defends through the final 3 turns. Jonathan Rea restricted to 4th. Scott Redding wins in Manicourt and keeps the title fight alive. Redding takes the checkered flag in race 2. Jonathan Rea is outside of the podium positions. It might well be race 1 in Estoril, but it's not going to be race 2 in Manicourt.